Hey guys, today's January the 17th of 2024, and I want to go over nat gas. Here we're going to go over a little Elliott wave, just kind of see where we're at, and I want to show you the bullish thesis using the Elliott wave theory. As you can see, this low on the 1212 of 23, you got a 1, 2, 3, and you got 5 waves here. And there's a projection target for wave 4 of 287 all the way to 276. And I feel like we're close. 275. So in theory, you look it up here, 275 and change. That is your projection of wave 4. So if this holds, this is 276, close to it. There goes the market. There's a wave 5 projection of, actually it should be higher. It should be 375, a target up there. So this is a bullish view, thinking that, you're thinking that prices are going to go higher. This Elliott wave count is confirming that we're working on a wave 5. I got targets also that I wanted to show you if this is going to play out. Some timing points here also. Let's see, we close this down. So there was a timing point here to watch was the 16th. We got that nice slam. I know the Tom D mark was on the 12th, 9th candle, and on the 16th turning point. There's another turning point coming here, which would be February the 5th. So those are 2 turning points to mark down, or possible change of trend. Target, if this is going to push higher, let's assuming the coal is really going to hit everywhere globally. I don't know, I know in the US it's freezing here. Targets anywhere between 376, the midpoint is 383, and the high is 389. So anywhere pretty much between 389 and 376 is your potential target. And turning point for 2-5, February the 5th. The ellipse technique is coming up, which is you got to watch out for the 19th, which I believe that's a Friday, and then the 22nd is a Monday. So what this indicator shows is that the volatility is going to increase here. So I don't know if this is just kind of pushed lower, sideways, and starting next week, this Friday, next week, Monday, things are going to work out to, work on a wave 5, take out 364 high of here of October the 31st or the 27th. I can't remember. I know these are closes, so looks a little different. So I like to look at closes and, actually look at candles and Hikanashi candles. But nonetheless, if this is bullish, now if it's going to be bearish, we know February and March are seasonality, nat gas does lows for some reason in those months. Then you're probably, this count is not going to work out. It could probably just be an A, B, and then a C down. So dates you want to watch is February the 9th, also February the 26th. And there's a target here of 176, 171, and 165. That's very extreme. That means you will have to take out 231. If February, March are like really down. So you got 2 things. You got weather that is very cold. I don't know if demand is going to kick in. I don't know what's going to happen there. That could, bring a catalyst higher. You got seasonality that February and March are weak. And then the cycles, doing other things, showing other things too. So it's like a lot of moving parts. So I'm like, well, I don't know what to follow, where's it going to go. What I always tell my followers is price is king. You have to follow price, but kind of know aware of all the probabilities and all the playouts, or the game plans for the Elliott wave guys and for the cycle guides and for the Gann guys. It's like all these theories, and everybody has, and that's why the markets are big and huge, because everybody has these forecasts and ideas and probabilities and where you think it's going to go and what seasonality is saying, what the cycles and the Dewey and and the Gann and, and the Elliott wave and the projections and all that, it just becomes a big melting pot. And all these ideas are, mixing in there like a soup until, 8:30 or 9:30, the bell opens and then everything is in real time. So that's why you just, that's how I kind of look at it in my mind. Kind of get the big picture, what, all these techniques and theories are saying, and just follow price and see what's the highest probability where this is going to go. So, I'm neither bull nor bear, because I could be leaning towards seasonality and thinking, what, there's going to be a cycle low, and Gann theory is going to tell me like, yeah, it could be pushing lower, making lower lows and lower highs, fail new high of here. We didn't take that out. So it's like all these little things. But then, the Elliott guys are going to be like, well, we're on projection wave 4. We're going to do a wave 5, and continue pushing this leg higher or do an ABC correction from there. So it's like all these little things. That's why, you just got to take it one day at a time. But I wanted to kind of cover and show you that. You can see the Stokes are negative. And if we put a little Fibbo here, Fibonacci, you get the 61.8, which is really popular with a lot of traders, where I could probably find support and turn here and do this leg higher. So these are kind of the projections I have and, and ideas. What other chart I want to go over? Let's see. I want to go over this chart right here. So this is a weekly. I've been messing around with this, but I haven't been really, putting it live. So I have what I call like a, my battle zone. I'm using the low of the 144 to the high here of August the 23rd, all the way down here to this April 14th low around there. And you can see that we kissed the 75% here, which is like 353. And it just kind of failed here. I should put my cross over here because this is probably not being seen. There we go. And you can see that we just kissed that here, failed, pulled back. Got this nice little bounce, failed. And now, within this retracement, the 50% is 278. And that's pretty much where we're hovering right now. If we go like this and zoom in, these are closes, so we haven't closed here today, but we came down around 275, 278, and this is where we're at. Now the important thing is it gonna penetrate the 353, which is a 75%, and eventually get to the midpoint, which is the 558, the 50% center of gravity. That remains to be seen. But, the probabilities of it happening, if it takes out 353 or, 364, this high, it increases. So I want to just keep an eye on that, especially in these angles. And this is, I've been watching, or not watching, just been observing different platforms or like different software, and then, putting your Gann fans. This software is not scaled, so when you plot it on that high here, it just shoots out this angle, and you really can't adjust it. You just have to scale it to the whatever you're using. You could go 0.1 or 0.001 or 1.00. I've been using 0.1, and so far this is what it's plotting. But then you look at something that's scaled, this 1 by 1, it's off. It doesn't even match this. So I come to the conclusion, and maybe I need to research this a little more, is that when you use different software, different platform, different brokers, and you plot these Gann fans or Gann angles, they're not going to all match. So, mine are probably not going to match yours if you're using Trader, Thinkorswim or what is it, Trading View. I can't think of any other brokers, Ninja Trader, whatever. They're not going to match, and it's just because the way the system is totally different. But I guess once you scale it in your system, then you have to just go by what you have there. So that's one thing that my observation, I'm noticing that these things sometimes don't line up. So it's like, okay, I have the 1 by 1 here, and over here shows like it's like a breakout above the 1 by 1. But then on my other software, I plot it from here. And mind you, this is a weekly. Maybe there's a big difference between the weekly and the daily, but I don't really know. I just think maybe they're not all gonna be in sync. So maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. I know again it was all paper, so there was no way to mess it up, because he was doing this all manually by hand. And I think that's probably the best way because you don't have to deal with discrepancies with price and time. Once you're doing it on paper and you do your angles, they're legit. That's the real angle, especially if you're using the kind of parchment paper that Gann was using. But I digress. I just wanted to kind of show you these things. I've been plotting, creating a weekly angle chart and just kind of monitoring there here and maybe comparing it with my other software and just see which one has more of an edge in regards to these angles. And lastly, let's see. This is my master chart, and I've been working on it. And also, I have upgraded my computer to use Parallel. It's a program that lets you use Windows software on your Mac. So I'm kind of testing it out, but I'm really liking how it's the response and everything. So I had to plot, I had to do a lot of upgrading in my system, but I got eventually some stuff here working, and you can see this is that high of the 23rd closes, but this is a daily chart. This is not a weekly, and you can see that the 1 by 1 is coming through right over here. So it's kind of interesting. And I remember my other system, because I have two computers. I have one just for the PC programs and then one for the Mac. The 1 by 1 was totally different. So, there's a lot of discrepancies with these things. So you have to just be careful and, take it with a grain of salt when you're using these Gann fans and angles and scale until, you see something that you're really comfortable with. But yeah, so that's that. And you can see the Gann fan from the slow here. We pierced it. We found resistance here. Pulling back now, and here's a square that I use, squaring the range, and this is the 1/6 level. You can see that it failed here, and there's some kind of support here at 294, but now we're right below it. We're somewhere around 270-ish around there, so maybe we could retest this level of 295, so which is important. If you're scoring the range, that level right there, if we could get above there, the chances of it getting at least to 327 or greater, at least it tests this high. But if it can't get there and that level fails, it's probably going to bounce off this angles, but it's probably going to push down. And I got some advanced support levels, 294 and 273 as support. We're somewhere around there, 275, 277. Lastly, let's look at the midpoint chart. This is 275. This is the daily. So for today, you need to get above 301 to get a fighting chance to get at least a 318. This is the point, not point of control, but the line in the sand. And if this level fails on the US session, which just already started, 281, you got 273 and 264 for targets to the downside for today. But, if it's going to really push, it's going to push even more. You got the 269 on the weekly right here. And on the weekly, you got to get above 304. You got 252 and 234 if it's going to continue pushing lower. That means that, the wave 4 projections on the Elliott wave don't hold, which is somewhere around here. In theory, it should bounce and go higher. And you can see that, some buyers came in and they're around 280 and it's holding support right here at this 275 level right here. and it's so between 285, 284, and 277. But if this doesn't hold, yep, it's gonna push lower. I'm gonna sign out. Hopefully you like this video, and I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on natural gas.